So you can see here, this is in Asiado, which we've already showcased. This is obviously going in and utilising some of our new building blocks UI for the doors. And then here's a scan wave, and you can see that I'm looking at that data pad, and then you can move around, and it's giving me that information. So right now, it's just giving you the basic high-level information in terms of the names and things. But you will also have more detailed information depending on, contextually what the item is. And what you're seeing here is part of the player interaction system. So you can just, even though that's kind of a complex area, there's lots of little things that you can interact with, but you're getting confidence of, oh cool, I can grab that, or I can use the data pad. And you're not having to go into interact mode, you're not having to be driven by the cursor. You can go in and just press F or interact with it. And you've probably seen this in plenty of AAA games, but they don't have the detail and at scale that we do. So we wanted to make sure that system is really robust. But hopefully it gives you kind of an idea of. And
I'd also say that part of the idea is that there's the default action, which in this case is what you see when you're on it when it says grab or I think there's a few other ones that you can use as a default action. But
so obviously this, as you can see, this is final art.
Absolutely.
So this is taken directly from Squadron for it to know. It's obviously a test map. But you can see here that, as Chris said, the level of inertia is still block out phase, but you can see that we're actually starting to get that you can grab on, you can go straight into a mantle or a vault, you can go straight into the pull-ups. And the thing is that what you're seeing here is, while this is just an test map, a lot of these are providing design ethos to then feed into the PU. So if we've got derelicts and we've got environments that we want the player to go and do missions in, we don't just necessarily just have to rely on, you've only got jump, or you only can do vault and mantle.
And right there, we did a jump halfway onto a ladder, and here we're looking around to the left, to the right, and you can jump off the ladder at any point, you can slide down it, you can do all sorts of things.
Wow. We've got a bit of a sneak peek at the end.
Yeah, so
we're going to fight an elevator?
the true boss.
And we jump across to get on the ladder there. And again, these are all the block out animations. I wonder what that is. Someone accidentally put that in there.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, and as Chris says, in terms of,
here we go
the EVA, this is what you're seeing here is that you'll probably see some of the, in the third person, the thrusters are not firing because
it's the old VFX, but it's also the old VFX code. So we haven't part of the proper, this is a current PU suit versus what we'll have as a new one with the proper pack that has the thrusters in the right position, and when you go forward, the thrusters going from the back.
So what you're actually seeing here is you've actually connected to this surface. So now it's almost like you're in a prone situation, but this is going to be what more our new prone will be. Again, you've got full 360 degrees. You can just move your mouse and you look all the way behind you or all the way in front.
And right now we're moving along here, not because we're thrusting, because we're using our hands to move ourselves along, and we're looking around as we're doing that. If we went out to the third person here, you would sort of see us moving our hands around. I think we'll see it a little later on. There we go, here we go. So we're just sort of pulling ourselves along. And if we wanted to at this point, we could stop and we could push off against it, and then we would just go floating out into space. So that's the sort of idea of what we call push-pull.
And so what you're seeing here,
he just pushed himself off.
So what you're seeing here, that's actually kind of, you're just floating alongside the actual this fin of this Asiada station, and this is actually keeping you in this orbit. And then if you did, and that's just, you just push forward and go, where you can actually jump off into space. But then this becomes one of the, if you look at physical traversal where you've got jumping and mantling and vaulting, this is where we have 0G push-pull, we have the tractor beam that kind of pulls you around in EVA, and then we have your EVA pack, which is limited by your resource of EVA fuel. So this allows you to kind of manipulate and go in EVA, and allows us as developers to build EVA traversal spaces, both wide-ranging and both small scale.
So yeah, here's I mean, we were before in first person looking around, but here's us cutting out to third person to actually show you what your character and body's doing. And so there's a lot of, I mean, and these are still block out animations actually, but so there'll be a lot more like nuance or fidelity to it. But yeah, you have a lot more control, directional sense, ability to look around, ability to stop yourself. So I think, in this one we're going to come up close the glass above it.
Yes.
And you're actually going to see is like if you fly into something, you sort of arrest, just again block out animation. But you're going to, as we get down close to it, I think we're going to come down. You'll see as our character comes down here, our player comes down here. Yep. Put our hands out to brace ourselves to stop ourselves on the glass here. So all of that's like systemic. That's not marked up or anything. It's all ray casting, seeing of things. You brace yourself when you come up against. Hold on, arrest your thing. You can push off against things. So we've spent a fair amount of time and engineering on all this, but it's not just for Squadron. It's going to be, it's obviously useful in some of the environments of Squadron. This is one of them, obviously the acid aerospatial. You're going to look down on the slavers that you saw in the earlier scan. But the use of this in the PU is going to be massive.
And also the big thing that Chris said there is it's systemic. There's no.
We've hyped this up now. REFERRAL is the most amazing thing in the world. Here we go.
So you can see here, this is actually a
slaver
pod. So
it closes down. It's on the floor. We're going to activate it. Levitates up now. Grav levs on. You get hold of it. Bam. And by the way, the new interaction system's not working in this demo here. It's just a separate build. But we're, as you can see, it's getting pushed over bulkheads.
But this is essentially a really big improvement for us because we want physical cargo, and we want physical cargo to be a big deal in the PU. That you have to move that cargo, you have to make decisions on how long it's going to take to load it up, not just buy it from the kiosk and it appear in your ship. So this gives us the ability to do that, and like Chris says, move much larger things than what you'd normally be able to push as a human being.
Yeah, I mean, this happens to be just the slaver pod, but obviously you'd be pushing, as long as it's grav lever equipped and has the sort of hover device, then like I said, you could have large shipping containers and stuff like that.
And this is all underpinned by our grav leg technology, so the same, as a Dragonfly, or eventually you'll hopefully be able to move much larger ships if you need to rearrange them, or when you're moving things around on your homestead or whatever we do eventually. And we've actually had this working on a planet, so you can just push this over planet terrain. You don't let go. You stay stable because it doesn't actually undulate unless there's something actually physically touching it. So it allows it to be much more stable. And what we want to do for your cargo loading is that we'll use a system similar to the cargo grid that you'll be able to snap things on top of it. So if you have a flat platform, you'll be able to snap cargo boxes onto it so they won't fall off. Then you'll be able to reliably move them without frustration. And again, you can see some of our design ethos coming through is that we're trying to remove the barrier to entry, we're trying to remove the control mechanism, the things that frustrate you as you play the game, and kind of make that a lot simpler.
I see this and all I can think about is Spock and the photon torpedo tube.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah. So we can see it one more time here.
So just to call out, that's going to be the old HUD.
Yeah, that is the old HUD. That's too busy.
That's the next old HUD.
Yeah.
Earlier we were showing the old HUD.
So we've done a scan here. That's also the old point of interest, because the point of interest will be just points.
Yeah.
But basically, we've done a scan. We've got some points of interest that are multiple 10Ks away.
And you can see the distance there. It says 13,000 kilometers on the right-hand side. So this is obviously just placeholder UI for the quantum boost. Again, you can just boost over there. And it obviously has this interactive gameplay, which obviously went into...
and this, by the way, that's all programmer work in progress from Yogi on the quantum boost mechanism, because you're just going to have to stay in the zone to keep in boost, otherwise you'll fall out of boost. But we've gone over to the planet here. So what it's allowing you to do is sort of have that mid-level traversal and investigate things. If we run it, you'll see kind of what the tech is. So first, this is in the editor, but it's essentially what it does is it's taking our existing layouts, levels, ships, so we don't have to build this custom, but it's a way of applying certain shaders and marking up certain objects to be displayed, like the floor gets displayed but the walls don't. So we can just take the existing geometry you already have streamed in that you're walking around already, and then use it to be rendered for our minimap. So this is essentially in the engine using the Idris ship itself and the various parts of its interior to create the minimap without any special. This doesn't have any specific custom like UI art for it, other than some of the like level things that say, ground level or whatever.
It's one of the advantages of having high detailed ships.
Yeah.
Because the environment's already in a good state to show straight out the gate.
And so the idea of this being systemic is that when the feature is ready to go, ready for prime time, and everything, we can just apply it to space station.
Yeah, because a lot of traditional game development, you have to make custom minimaps.
Yeah.
So you look at an environment and you go, we have to make a custom environment minimap. So if we want to support lots, tens, hundreds, and thousands of locations,
especially for the PU,
and absolutely for the PU, it's just not viable. So we wanted to come up with a solution that we can use, with minimal effort on the side of content creation, but gives us all of the information that we want. And this minimap is not just, that's where I am. It can show you objectives, it can show you other people, it can show you information about those things. Again, it's all underpinned by the radar and scanner. So when we call it the minimap, this is just a kind of how you view your radar information in FPS. And your radar and scanner gives you so much more information than just, that's the name of the door. It tells you what's the state, does it have power, can I hack it? If it's a person, what's their active status, are they injured? So if you're coming into here and going, I'm trying to do a medical mission, I've got a marker, I can go, cool, I can get a scan of the local lie of the area and go, right, this person's injured. Oh, his body's injured too. Oh, he's got a tier 1 injury. I'm going to go and help him before he bleeds out because I can see his health. And you'll be able to see that via this information.
Yeah, it allows you to detect saboteurs or intruders.
Absolutely. So it's the investigation in the test map. And what you're seeing here, in some respects, you might think that this is scripted, that this is something that we just put on a track. This is purely systemic. So if we captured this 20 different times, it would be 20. It would play out 20 different ways.
So those individual there is going away to hide behind that orangey boxy, whatever we want to call that color.
So that's the player, essentially.
This is essentially a standard for the player. The other two AI are searching for him at the moment. The white spheres you see are basically hiding at cover spots. And so as AI, this is a sort of debug mode, as the AI goes around and they search, the spheres go away, indicating that, okay, they've checked that place, so no one's actually there hiding out on cover. So, and they're both kind of working together. So their logic is they need to clear these rooms first, and then once the rooms are cleared, they can sort of go on.
So they share this information. So as they're clearing the cover points, and the cover points are basically all the nooks and crannies in the room, they're clearing the cover points and they're sharing together. So you'd see here that they're going, okay, this guy's coming in and go, okay, there's an open vent. Again, this is systemic. He's just coming to investigate this vent, but he's not cleared this entire room yet, so he's not going to progress. And he's just going to go and check the rest of the room alongside his buddy. And once they've then cleared it, they'll then progress. But again, here would be, you'd hear them talking to each other. I've not found him yet. Where is he? And again, we've got vents in here.
He's checking another vent there.
Yeah, so we also have other usables. So it might be, there's something you can hide in, or they're going through systemically, checking the usables, checking the cover points. And you can see there's only a few balls left now. The ones at the bottom right, and then the ones at the back that he's clearing. And then one of these enemies will then go, okay, we've checked everything in here. I'm now going to progress to the next space because that's where, they're not in here. I think they're going to go this way.
So you come back, there's only one set of ones left. He's going to check it. He's going to come through here. Cleared those, so now he's coming around here. And
fire away!
And what you're seeing here with the bar, which starts off, is something that we added for the perception. So here is in Asiado in the decommissioned area. You can see the two AI in the distance catch you, and then this is kind of just a representation of it doing the same thing in a real environment. But obviously we wanted to show you the kind of the thing behind the curtain. What are they actually doing? They're checking cover points, they're checking the usables that are there, and then in a lot of the cases when we actually captured this video, if we actually failed because they pincered the player and they actually found you before we were able to show you what was happening. So it's really good to see how this transition from social into combat so that you can actually play through the game.
Better check that out.
So here he's checking a usable, which we've set up. We're just kind of like looking and checking, okay, is there anything there? Nothing there. And again, he's sharing that information with his buddy. So if you've got 2, 3, 4 AI that are searching, then obviously they're sharing and talking to each other and letting them know that nobody's found you.
Like you may not be able to see them, but you're going to know they're out there looking for you. And if you stay in the same place for too long, they will find you.
Yeah, so you can see the one in the background is actually looking over one of the vents, one of the railings, should I say, and then I think the Ross, who captured all these videos, I think he takes a bit of revenge.
And again, not scripted. It's systemic. They understand all the hiding places. This is their station. They understand the hiding places. They understand where to look, and they just go through. So
you can drop these enemies in any environment, and they will play out like this. But obviously, the choices that they make at runtime will be different.
Wow.
And this is where we have to make sure that the AI that we're working on, even though we're working on it in Squadron, it has to work for the entirety of Star Citizen in all the different environments, in all the different scenarios that you're put in. So again, what you're seeing here is in a test map. We wanted to just kind of show you a bird's eye view. So we've just turned God mode on so you can see it. And you can see the labels here. So we've got the defenders that kind of push to cover points. Then we've got the pusher who's kind of pushing towards you. And then we've got the strafer who is kind of like taking more of a wider angle. Now, there are some similarities between all the behaviors, but it depends on what happens. So whether they go to cover, a pusher, for example, can still go from cover to cover. A defender can still go to cover. So it's not like you've got these binary choices. It's about weighting the different choices throughout the behavior so that the AI provides something different, but also applies pressure to you as a player so that you're having to react to the AI. Right now, our current AI, you basically get the jump on them and you can just take them all out. So this is just a short version but again, it's the same AI that have been dropped in. And they roll the dice they don't always become defenders or always become pushers or strafers. It can be random every time, so the combat experience is different. Oh. So you might all be pushers and they might all be defenders, but the way it works is if one of them rolls a defender, then the weight for them to roll another defender is lower. So essentially here you can see here that he's getting tagged a lot just because we want to show you the behaviours themselves rather than get taken out. So he's being a bit more aggressive than you probably would be able to.
That's going to make the eventual speed runs a lot harder because they're not just Goombas that do the same thing every time. You can't memorize the patterns.
And the other thing you might have noticed as well is that we're starting to have traversal opportunities for the AI. So they're not always just on the base nav.
They can mantle over, in fact, I'm not sure we
crouch, mantle, climb ladders.
They can jump over railings and push you, or they can climb up onto things and shoot down on you. They can use ladders, they can do all sorts of stuff. So we're putting a fair amount of work into AI traversal so they sort of understand the environment and how to traverse over it other than just flat ground. And of course, on some of that, I think you saw some of it, he didn't get hit right away. Some of the early shots missed and then they hit him. That's kind of what Rich was talking about earlier.
So the first page that you'll see that's coming up right now, kind of like the overview. So, it's the overview of your player, it's the overview of your ship, and then it's like your primary objective. So, and all of these widgets that we call them are kind of shortcuts to the kind of the main focus areas.
See alerts as you go to the other page.
So you can see here we've got your messages. So this is kind of like the email client, and then on the right we've got kind of like the ship chat that's coming in with general ship chat from the AI, which again is kind of just making it believe that you're in this believable environment or a real life environment rather than just you alone.
So responsive compared to the old one.
Yeah, and it's just a lot cleaner, and the information. It's something that we've tried to be consistent across the HUD and the Mobi, is that we want to make sure that we're giving you clean information.
You can see like the alerts. So the alerts now cleared from the messaging app because we've read the messages, so it's gone. But there was an alert down on our mission side here, but now we've gone and looked at it. It's cleared. So that's the system. It's a framework. So like inside the, you'll get notifications or alerts. Oh, look, I got a new message over here. I'll click over to it. Now we're back.